Hello, welcome to another one of my videos about error coins, and this time I'm looking at a bunch of clipped 20p coins. Now, this is probably the most subtle example I've got. I can imagine this passing through a lot of hands in change without anyone thinking, oh, this is a mint error. They might just think, even if they do notice it, they think, oh, it's just got a little dent on the edge. But on the contrary, if you look at that edge, you can actually tell, even though it's circulated, that is commensurate with it being a clipped blank that this was struck on. But the more obvious evidence is this slight, I don't know what you call it, like a slight incline to the inner edge, whereas it's a lot steeper elsewhere. It's a more gradual gradient there, and that's because when these are struck, they are struck on round blanks, and they only become this seven-sided 20p shape as a result of the blank being squashed between the dies and pushing outwards and then butting up against the collar, which is this shape. So with that collar in place, it can't expand any further, and so it gets this classic 20 pence shape. And so basically what's happened here is when the blanks were being cut out from a sheet to make these coins, the circular blanks are punched out from that. And if there's a bit of an overlap, so if you try to cut out a piece too close to an existing hole, you will end up with a circular blank which has a circular clip in it, which is what's happened here. And when that coin is struck, it's not struck hard enough for that circular clip to make it all the way to the collar. So that is how this clipped 20p error occurs. And again, you can see it a bit more obviously here. There's a gradient to, there's a slight slope on these inner edge parts here, and also slightly evident here, right by the clip. And so that is proof that this isn't simply just a 20p that someone's nibbled the edge off after it's been minted. So the blanks are completely flat when they're struck in a 20p operation. So these inner edges are actually only formed as a result of the blank material backfilling into that channel. And because there's a gap here and the metal wants to flow that way if it can, it's not going to backfill this part of the design fully. So yeah, if anyone's in doubt as to whether this is a mint error or not, then doubt no more, because it is definitely a mint error. Testament to that is the fact that here's one I sent off to NGC, and you can see a similar kind of effect, kind of like about here really. There's a slight slope to the inside edge, and yeah, the cynical people would be like, yeah, someone's just like drilled a bit off the edge of that coin or machined it off. But it's those kind of trademark sloped edges which make it very obvious that it's not post-mint damage. You cannot possibly replicate this without leaving telltale signs that the coin's been manipulated. So of course NGC have confirmed that this is a mint error, even though it's got some obverse damage. It's got a little sort of scuff on the queen, which is a shame. Never mind. Otherwise it looks quite nice. A little bit of rainbow toning going on there almost. But yeah, these are legit errors. Here's a slightly more pronounced example of a single clip. Again, it's been circulated, but very clear evidence of that slight slope on the inside edge there. And the clip itself, it just looks like what you would expect it to be. You get this kind of like shiny half on the top and then a slightly duller bit on the bottom half, which is as a result of that punching process. Yeah, again, a very obvious slope on the inner piece there. Cool. So again, that's a legit error. And here's another cool one, which has 2 clips. So when the round blanks are punched out, they're done in a sort of hexagonal pattern to make best use of the material, obviously. So when you do get some clipping going on, it's quite common to also see double clips like this, and they're different sizes here. So again, if that goes in figures, that's obviously been circulated, but that's commensurate with a genuine clip, and is that one. But more obviously, you've got this kind of sloping going on here, which is really obvious here because it goes all the way up to the lettering. Makes it very clear that that cannot possibly be post-mint damage. And again, on this side, it's even more clear. You get a bit of sloping here and a lot more here where the bigger clip is. So that's cool. That's a 1982 20p, so that's one of your oldest ones as well. And this is the newer design, not the newest one anymore, because of course the King Charles coins will be coming out soon. I'm not seen any yet though. Let's hold this right up. So again, this is double clipped, a much cleaner example, possibly because it's not older. I jokingly say this is an undated 20p because you can't read the date because that's where the clip ended up being. But again, yeah, very obvious. Ooh, wobbly. Very obvious sloping going on here and on the other clip too. And you would expect that on both sides, which obviously you do get. And then finally, this is by far the best example I've got of a clipped 20p, because not only is it clipped, but I think it's not been struck within the collar either, because the outside of the coin is round. Obviously there's some weird stuff going on here where I think the excess material from the blank, or at least a bit that wasn't clipped off, has ended up going outside of where the dies would be striking the coin. So there's no detail on this part at all because it wasn't struck upon. Similarly, this part has also ended up outside the collar. So you've got a raised bit there where the die has pushed down and this is kind of squidged up. And again, slightly more obvious this side as well. Actually, there's a slight hint of a collar here. So maybe that's a very, very partial collar error going on there. That is interesting. Hadn't noticed that before. But on the whole, it does appear kind of round, and you've got some epic sloping going on here where the lettering is. Come on, focus. There we go. That is very cool. Nice. Yeah, I'd be interested to see what NGC describe this one as if I were to send it in for grading. But yeah, that is a very, very spectacular example. But yeah, send them in, get them graded, so then no one can doubt their authenticity. But yeah, that's all from me. That's all from me for now. Thanks for watching. I hope you found this video interesting and informative. And if you did, please like and subscribe and let me know in the comments what you think about this. Do you reckon any of these are fake? Because I don't. I know a lot of people who would say these are fake, but yeah, they're wrong. I know quite a lot about error coins now, so bring it on if you think I'm wrong. I'm very happy to learn new stuff, but on these particular coins, I'd be very surprised if anyone can dispute the authenticity of these. I'll be impressed if you can say it better than I can. Yes. Anyway, don't forget to check out my other coin videos if this sort of thing floats your boat, 'cause there's plenty more to see. But anyway, bye for now.